Good afternoon. I'm Sedefia Yawa Mawuena, a graduate of University of Health and Allied Sciences. I studied biochemistry and molecular biology. The title of my paper is A Systematic Review, a Meta-Analysis of UTI Infections in Ghana. So basically, when we talk about UTI infections, they are infections that affect the urinary system. That's the urethra, the kidney, or the bladder. So for the systematic review, we had to look at some discrepancies. Like, we realized there were many single-based, like there were many UTI studies in Ghana, but there was no pooled national prevalence of UTI studies in Ghana. So we had to write a general UTI paper showing the pooled prevalence and also be able to find some key uropathogens, identify some antimicrobial resistance trends, and know some risk factors associated with UTI infections. Yes. With my methodology, I did a search on 5 databases. That's the PubMed, Science Direct, Web of Science, Scopus, and African Journal Online. So as you can see, these are the databases. I had 380 papers in total. After doing my screening means taking the relevant papers. So the first screening was to remove duplicates. I had 354. Then I did other screening like the title and abstract screening, and I ended up with 54 papers. So after doing the full test screening, I finally had 48 papers that met my inclusion criteria. So I continued to do my data extraction and did my meta-analysis. These are the 48 papers that met my inclusion criteria, and these are the prevalence for all the papers per each paper. So after doing my meta-analysis, I had a pooled prevalence of 27.14% with this confidence interval. I also looked at the regional variation, that is the pooled prevalence for each region. So as you can see here, this is the Ghana map, and the regions that had, from the 48 papers, 8 regions had papers reported on UTI. So Central region, which is the deepest here, the deepest color here, had the highest prevalence of 35.48%, following to the least region, that is Bono East region, with a pool prevalence of 6.54%. I also looked at the uropathogens. So these are not all the uropathogens that were discovered, but due to time's sake, I summarized them to the first 4. First, I categorized them into bacterial and parasitic uropathogens, just to differentiate them. And E. coli emerged as the most common bacterial pathogen, followed by Klebsiella pneumonia, coagulase negative Staphylococcus and Staphylococcus aureus. Then for the parasitic, the Schistosoma hematobium had 100% prevalence. This is because it was the sole pathogen found in all the papers that reported on schistosoma. I also did the antimicrobial resistance, and as you can see here, ampicillin had a high resistance of 85%. Ceftriaxone also had 45%. Vaccium also had 42%. These two are mostly used for the treatment of UTI. So the high resistance affects the treatment. I also had susceptibility with amikacin, gentamicin, ciprofloxacin, and nitrofurantoin. I see that they have a good susceptibility, meaning they can still continue using them for the treatment of UTI infections. Another finding was the risk factors, as I mentioned earlier. So for the risk factors, the age factor had the strongest associated factor. So the group of people who are really affected with UTI were the younger individuals below the age of 5 and the elderly people. We also have water contacts related mainly to the schistosoma hematobium. Infected water, when people bath in infected water, yes, they end up getting UTI infections. Gender also plays a big role. Males had a higher prevalence compared to female. And we also have the hygiene and sexual activities. Yes. Hygiene and sexual activities, and comorbidities like diabetes, HIV, and stroke also affected in the course of UTI infections. As you know, with HIV, your immune system is suppressed, so you can easily be infected with other infections. So the whole impact of this work was to write paper with a pooled prevalence of UTI infections in Ghana, which was done. And we were able to determine some alarming resistance trends that can affect the treatment of UTI infections in Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Dr. Abo, would you like to start?
Thank you. Master, that was a good presentation. It was short and precise.
Thank you.
And very interesting. Did you think about or find out the UTI prevalence in the central seems to be the highest? Did you find out any social reasons?
Please come again with your question. You said the UTI and
in your presentation of results.
Yes, please.
You said the highest prevalence was in the central region.
Yes.
35.5 for the UTI.
Yes, please.
And I'm asking that, were there any social reasons? Did you think of it?
So one reason...
Comparing the two regions, the one with the highest and one with the lowest.
Yeah, so one thing I saw was that because it's a rural area, it was also related the schistosoma hematobium. So most of the schistosoma hematobium papers were from the central region, and which led to the high prevalence actually.
Hey. Cape Coast, they are rural, eh?
I was about to ask, how can you describe Cape Coast as rural? The place with the highest educational institutions. What is your criteria for saying that is rural? Or the villages that were mentioned were rural? I mean, the location.
The location, not like only Cape Coast. Central region comprises of other places, not just Cape Coast.
I understand, but because you said central region is rural.
Oh, no, sorry. So the papers were from the rural areas in the central region. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but all the other areas had rural tastes.
Yes.
The locations were also rural, weren't they?
So what's social reason? Is it that they are sexually active?
Okay, I didn't look at that, but when I was writing, that was the main.
Face the camera,
yeah, so when I was writing, that was the main factor I discovered.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. Dr. Abu.
Yeah, and also about they said age played a big role.
Yes, please.
Yeah, and the younger children below 5 and the older. So
Yeah.
I'm looking at vulnerability. What about it?
Vulnerability.
Eh, yeah, because if the person is below 5, they are taken care of by other people. And then the older one too, you said it was more prevalent there. So
Yes.
is it that they can't look after themselves? I'm just wondering what you ascribe those rates to be.
So with the older people, most of them are like their immune system are not as active as the normal adults, the elderly people. So that was one factor, and also they have other comorbidities like the diabetes. Most elderly people have other comorbidities like diabetes and stroke, which can also lead to them having UTIs.
My network was down, so I didn't hear what you said.
Okay, so I was saying that elderly people, for instance, they have their immune system is not strong to fight most infections. That's one. And also they have comorbidities like the stroke and diabetes, which also led to them having a high rate of UTI amongst them.
So we have to assume that the younger ones too,
No,
doesn't mean their immune system is not as developed
yes, please. Yes.
to cope with the
Yes.
situation.
Yes, please.
Okay, thinking of the fact that I think you mentioned one of the results that there was high resistance to some acts.
Yes.
And I was saying to myself that these days, more people are going towards even though they accept that the susceptibility is high. Uh, these days, people are going more towards the herbal because it looks like the orthodox drugs. Our bodies have become resistant to it.
Yeah.
That's just a comment that I'm making.
Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, I enjoyed your presentation.
Thank
It was
you.
very crisp. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abo. Dr. Jim Bibi. Okay. Then let's move to Dr. Vida Akaitete.
Yes. Mamiya,
Hello. Yes, please.
a very good presentation. You have waken us up to know what is going on as far as UTI is whatever. Madam, what is UTI? Whenever you are presenting something, don't take it that people know. What is UTI? UTI. What is?
Yes. So it's the microbial invasion of the urinary tract system, in, including the bladder, the urethra, the kidney, and the yeah.
It's what? Come again.
It's the microbial
Oh no.
invasion.
That.
Okay.
Go ahead, go ahead.
It's the microbial invasion of the urinary tract system.
What is UTI?
UTI,
Urinary
okay,
tract
urinary
infection. What is
tract.
that?
That's what I'm defining. Urinary tract
Yeah.
infection is the microbial invasion of the urinary tract system, including the urethra, the kidney, and the bladder.
Okay. I thought I would get the understanding. The network is worrying me.
Okay.
Dr. Kaida, I think she defined it in the beginning.
Yes, I did.
Maybe you didn't hear.
Yes, I didn't hear. My network I think it's fluctuating.
Okay. Dr. Akaitete,
Mamiya,
would you like her to repeat the
yes.
definition?
I don't know. I didn't hear. The network was bad here. I don't know
Okay.
what has changed.
All right, so
Can
please, she will
she
repeat
say
it
it
right
again?
now. Should we just repeat it right now?
Right.
Okay. Please go ahead.
So urinary tract infection is the microbial invasion of any part of the
Right.
urinary tract system. So as you can see, these are the areas that can cause, when affected, can cause UTI infections. That is the kidney, the bladder, and the urethra, causing the following
Oh.
infections. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. And then you mentioned the high prevalence places. You came up with central region, and I know the study was done across 8 regions. So I leave the regions that were not touched by the central region. Are you saying central region had when we talk of urinary tract infection? It talks about, if I don't know whether it has to do with the amount of water we take. I don't know whether because central region has issues with water. Is that the reason why central region came out as the highest prevalent region?
Yes, so the rural areas in the central region,
Okay.
yes, most of the papers were from that section, and also the water not being too clean, the infested water also acted as one major factor with the rising condition of UTI in the central region.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay. When you talk of the key factors, you mentioned age. Why age? In fact, I want to get what all these factors has to do with the contraction of the UTI. Why age?
So
These are children who get it more. Children are more prone to it than aged, or aged are more prone to it than the active working class.
So I explained it earlier, but I'll still
Okay.
explain it again. So the children, that is those below 5 years old, were more because of their immune system not being too developed. And the elderly people have their immune system not been active as before, and they have other comorbidities like diabetes and stroke that can lead to them having UTI infections. UTI, sorry.
Okay. And then the sexual activities. Is it that when someone have it, is it communicable?
So one thing about with the sexual activity is the introduction of bacteria into this sexual organ. So we have one disease called honeymoon side cystitis. Sorry, yes, it's when someone has too much or frequent sex, and which leads to the introduction of bacteria in the sexual area and can cause honeymoon cystitis, that is a
Okay.
UTI infection.
Okay. So if I have it in my sexual area, if I have the bacteria in my sexual area, and then I happen to have intercourse with another person, the person might have it.
For
Is that
that,
what you are saying?
for yeah, as long as the it introduces the bacteria into your sexual area, it's going to cause the infection.
This is a whole teachings together. But let me quickly ask my last question. You have brought all. Now you mentioned the reproductive programs.
Please, can you
What are
repeat
some of
your
the
question?
preventive programs you have designed?
So for the preventive lineup, one thing I was looking was the hygiene. So maintaining a proper hygiene can help with the prevention of UTI, and the water bodies. We using clean water and not bathing in infested water
You know,
bodies.
Cape Coast has a long-standing history of water problem. That
Yes.
is why, and then the villages too, maybe, I don't know. That is why maybe Cape Coast came out as a high prevalence. What is this work going to do? Is it going to have a deba of chiefs to talk about? Is it going to appeal to government to do this? Is it going to appeal to men in power to, what are they going to do? Because as far as the water problem in Cape Coast persists, this UTI will also be there.
Yes, please. So the main aim was the paper was the food prevalence. The other things we discovered were other factors that we discovered. So we didn't really focus on like bringing government into the whole issue, but we checked mainly. We mainly looked at the antimicrobial resistance trend, which could help in the health sector. Yes, please.
Thank you. It's a very good presentation. I'm looking forward to introducing it and see how it will work. Sometimes we just come out with papers and then it sits on the shelf and you don't see how to implement programs that will maybe see to a feasible outcome of the program than to just have a paper and then present it and just leave it. That's why we are asking all these questions. Thank you very much, Mamiya.
Thank you
Thank
too.
you very much.
Thank you so much. Please, do we have any questions for Martha?
She also said one of the factors was gender, and I wanted you to explain something about it because, when you say gender, it's
That is the male and female. We check the prevalence for male and female groups in particular, and we realized the male had a high prevalence. That was around 30, 35 point something. I'm not too sure of the figures. And the females were around 29 point something percent, meaning the males had a high prevalence compared to females.
so. Is there a particular reason why the males have higher prevalence as compared to
So
the females?
statistically, one thing I realized was some of the papers were solely male-based papers, which contributed to the males having a high prevalence.
Okay.
Yes, there were papers with just only male steady populations. So it's led to that. It's skewed there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Like, I wasn't here for the entire presentation, but from the questions, I have a fair understanding. So, in regards to her question concerning gender, ideally, females are supposed to have the higher prevalence because of the structure of the reproductive system, right? So, it means that if you're looking at it in terms of the male, it could be that there are other factors contributing to they having a higher prevalence. For example, it depends on the age as well. If you have a male who has a posterior urethral valve, that is a valve that was not discovered, that was patent when they were small and they are growing, they can have a UTI because, anytime you block the urethra, you are going to cause stasis of urine, and bacteria will thrive in such places. So that is what will bring about the UTI. So with such a high prevalence in the males, there are mostly underlying causes. If you have it in the elderly, you'll be thinking about maybe a prostate cancer or a CA that has spread to the pelvis that is preventing the urine from, or a bladder cancer. Because ideally, women are supposed to have a higher prevalence because of the structure of the reproductive system. So I think for that, there could be other factors which could be explored, but all the same, good work.
So it would be good if you could state it clearly why men, because for me, I really don't agree. like she said, the structure of we all know it, that definitely you are the first person to get into trouble. After the men, it's seen much later. All right, but thank you so much for your presentation. Shall we please give her a hand as she comes to sit?